friends, and welcome back to Pod Return to the Waking Sands. If you don't know, we are a Final Fantasy XIV companion podcast, where we explore the lore and story of Hydaelyn and beyond. My name is Jen, and I'm joined by my co-host and researcher.
I'm Levi.
Hi, Levi.
Jen is very tired today.
Oh, you know, I had one of those, birthday weekends. It wasn't my birthday. It was a friend's birthday, and we rented a big fat house and just kind of hung out of the house. So, I mean, you know what that's like. Kind of late nights and early mornings.
Well, we all appreciate you making time to record today despite this scheduling disruption.
No, it's super important. Super important.
I'll have to make up for your normal pep and vigor.
Will
it's okay.
you?
I got it covered. You know me, Jen. I bring the pep to this podcast.
That is true. That is what they say. You come for the story and you stay for the pep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we are talking about the minor job quest today through level 50.
This is a weird one. It's not weird. Well, no, it's weird. I mean, there's nothing, and then it's fucking weird.
So minor is our second of the three gathering classes, also known as Disciples of the Land. Mechanically speaking, minor works exactly the same way as botanist does. Same buttons, same stats, same gear, whatever. It just picks rocks instead of plants.
A little rock picking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And besides rocks, we get ore, raw gemstones, sand.
Water. Bones.
Sure.
Yeah.
The miners' tools are the pick and hammer. Unsurprisingly, the Miners Guild is in Ul'dah. The desert is rich in deposits, and we've been running into mining concerns since the very beginning of the main story quest. And the guild itself is kind of a union. It was formed by workers who were frustrated that they received none of the wealth that they unearthed for the mining companies, and so they gathered together to advocate for miners' rights and to create a venue for experienced miners to pass on their skills to novices, like us.
Mm-hmm.
Eager to mine, we head to the Miners Guild in Ul'dah, and in keeping with the guild's philosophy, the receptionist is welcoming. Great riches await those with strong backs and keen eyes.
So do we get a commission for the stuff that we turn in? Or are we just getting paid for the shit we turn in outside? Or do we get a base pay and then bonus for going over our goal? What's the structure here?
Are you new here? Did you not just do all the quest steps?
No, I'm pretending I'm trying to, they're asking me, are you ready to work hard and get dirty? I'm like, well, what's the compensation package like?
Well, you nailed it, Jen. You can do whatever you want to. The guild's not here to run your life. It's here to enable you to thrive.
Well, that sounds amazing.
Anyway, though, the receptionist gives us the intro to the guild. Looking at the lands around Ul'dah, one would be forgiven for thinking that the region is barren of opportunity. But beneath the surface lie veins of copper, silver, and gold beyond measure.
Mm-hmm.
She goes on to tell us of the Mad Mythril Rush, an Eorzean gold rush, as it were. The poor mining aspirants had no skill and were exploited by the mining companies and forced into atrocious working conditions in exchange for a pittance. And so the guild comes in now to actually provide a intermediary between the mining concerns and the miner to make sure that they are being respected, they can accept what they want, and they get fair pay and safe working conditions.
Amazing. Very progressive.
Yeah. So we say yes to the receptionist, and we're passed on to the guildmaster, Adalberta.
Yeah.
Her understanding of the trade is unsurpassed. Her brain a veritable goldmine of knowledge.
Oh my god.
Adalberta looks the part. She is a muscular, red-haired healer wearing desert-colored clothes, with a respirator around her neck and a lantern at her belt.
You know, there's a cutscene later on where she has her back to you as the player, but there's a light source shining directly on her fucking triceps, and it's incredible the muscle definition this woman has in her arms. Amazing. Goals.
Well, she is a minor, Jen.
Yeah. But I mean, God damn.
God damn. Adalberta is an Alamegan refugee. She fled to Ul'dah with her father, who became a miner to support his daughter. He was sadly killed, though, in a cave-in. Now Adalberta carries on his trade, making sure that no young miners are exploited by others or run afoul of similar tragedy.
Yeah, so the guild is super busy, and they're like, hey, you know what? If you can swing an axe, like, come on board. We'll teach you how to swing an axe. But better.
It's a pick, Jen. Or a pickaxe.
Yep, it is a pick. That is correct.
The guild is busy because recent advances in smelting technology have allowed even low purity ores to be used. And so they can now go back to these formerly depleted sources of minerals and reap fresh rewards from them.
Hot dog, which is great because a huge chunk of their business had been eliminated when, all of these technological advancements, and Adalberta is like, it's great. It's not really great for our guild, but I try to be happy about it. Like the fact that they no longer need carbonized matter for melding. That was a huge part of their business. So, great. And now the technological advancement has worked in their favor this time. Hallelujah.
So us hardy adventurers make for natural miners.
Yeah, we got guns.
Well, you got guns too.
And guns. Sometimes.
What? Oh, yes. Not yet. Not for a while.
Guns?
So, Jin, are you ready to work hard and get dirty?
Yes.
Attitude could use some work, but okay.
I don't know which one I bulk harder at. The working hard or the getting dirty. I like neither of those.
So we get our first pickaxe and head out to do some practice swings, gathering tin copper ore.
Yep, just right outside the walls, as you do. And of course, they're the most amazing copper ore chunks ever mined. And there we go. That was level 1. So Adalberta, she didn't always have a passion for mining. It just came to her, I think a lot of times the more you know how to do something, the more passionate you are about it. I don't know. I get that feeling. Like, I get that. So she kind of goes on like, yeah, it's hard work, but isn't it fucking exhilarating when the earth offers up this prize? You feel like a god among men. I'm like, it is satisfying. I'll give you that. The feeling like a god, I'm sure that'll come to me in time.
Next up, we get a lecture on the importance of learning the lay of the land. How else are we going to go and learn all those juicy mineral secrets? To reinforce this, we have to go seek out bone chips, even though they're just next door to the copper ore by the dispatch yard.
So far away.
We bring them back, and they're bone chips. Congrats.
Ta-da! Or you could just go to the alchemist guilds and buy them.
Did you miss the lecture about enjoying the sweat of your brow?
No, I got it. I mean, there's plenty of sweat to be had in walking all the way out to the alchemist guild,
Aetherite.
which is like up in the fucking...
You took the Aetherite and you know it.
You shush. And it's like way up by the...
Chamber of Rule.
The Chamber of Rule, which is nowhere near any other guild. I mean, come on.
But there's an Aetherite right outside.
I guess. I don't know. Like, if you're lazy.
So we get a lecture now about needing to learn who wants what so we know who the correct customers are for each item, or we can just throw them on the market board and let nature figure it out.
Right. And so I guess like the structure of this, it doesn't matter at all. But I'm just, when you clock in to work at the guild, you're either going to have an assignment waiting for you or not. So you just go mine some shit that you know is in high demand right now and sell it on your own time. Or on the guild's time, actually.
The guild doesn't pay a base salary.
Well, obviously,
So
you're going to do a job, but they're like, yeah, who signs your check? I guess the infrastructure of a guild, like how that works, how they manage payroll and stuff like that, or do they?
What?
I don't know.
Why are you on this tangent
I don't know. Anyway, we're moving on. So bone chips, got it, done. Next time, we have our first request from Amagina and Sons Mineral Concern, who owns basically all the mines everywhere, and they also own the guild, or they own the property.
Yes, own the property, not the guild.
And they are so gracious. They let us use the facility And in return, they get pick of the litter, I guess. You know, all the top talent in the guild, they get first pick for their jobs. So that's what we're doing this time. They just need like a tiny little bit of obsidian.
Well, it used to be 99 chunks of obsidian. Thank you, Yoshi P, for the crafting quest.
Oh my God.
Sorry, the gathering quest quantity nerf.
Indeed.
So now it's 10.
Now it's 10. And they're going to use the obsidian to make a kind of an old-timey weapon. It's a makwa huidl. And then we also get our secondary tool, which is the sledgehammer for outcrop smashing.
Yes, the weapon is for a Colosseum exhibition showcasing ancient arms, such as obsidian-studded weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Adalberta wants us to meet an Amagina and Sons contact, Deep Canyon. It sounds like she and he have a history, but it's not quite clear yet what's going on there. However, the concern is impressed with our mighty tin obsidian hull, and they want us to do more work for them.
Okay.
There's a few times here where the quest nerfs show glaringly through the dialogue because they talk about mechanics and quantities that no longer exist. So yeah, our mighty haul of tin obsidian, it took us 2.5 nodes or less with some good luck with Gatherer's Boon.
Right.
To pull that in.
Yeah. It's because they make a big deal in this assignment in particular, they make a big deal about they ask us to get some cinnabar, which is used to make natron. It's natron, right? No, I think it's Quicksilver. And Quicksilver is used in natron?
I'm sourcing that right now because Quicksilver is mercury, and that is poisonous. So no, natron takes 1 effervescent water.
That's what I'm thinking of.
And 1 rock salt.
Right, okay, cool.
We don't want mercury in our baked goods.
Anywho, so they're all up they're super worried about this cinnabar task. Like, oh my God, it's super rare. And not only that, but they need a whopping 10 ounces. Oh shit, what are we gonna do?
So quick note about Deep Canyon. He is a bigger character in this quest line. We meet Deep Canyon, and he's a Rogadin in Ul'dah garb with a pair of goggles. And he's got pink or like fuchsia cheek paint.
Yeah.
He was expecting another Alamigan, like many miners are, not an adventurer, since us layabouts break pledges like bread.
So, yeah, he's not a fan. Doesn't like adventurers. He doesn't think they're good for Ul'dah. We're fickle, we're flighty, we're flaky, we're all these things. But it seems like we're okay.
We grabbed the cinnabar, and we did a good job. It's great. He would make us his personal assistant if we were Ul'dah, but he wants to keep things in the country.
Yeah,
he goes
it's just
on
a little xenophobia. It's no problem.
This nationalistic tangent here about how he wants to keep wealth inside Ul'dah and how he's displeased by the guild accepting outsiders.
Yeah, so on this point, he and Adalberta are at complete odds.
And he's going to see about making a change to this policy.
Good luck with that.
A bit ominous.
You got all of this fucking work and no one to do it unless you accept adventurers and outsiders and whoever is willing to do the work.
Anyway, we report back to Adalberta, and she reveals that Deep Canyon used to be her mentor. After her father died, she was at first encouraged to become a performer by her adopted family, but she didn't like the stage. And she wasn't sure what else to do, so she tried her father's old trade. And she felt like she didn't belong there either until Deep Canyon took her on as an apprentice. And she feels like she owes a lot to him, even after how things turned out.
Yeah.
Subject change. How about your gear? Don't neglect it.
Yep. Super important. Keep it in good condition.
Also, use that materia on it.
Yeah, and let's give you a little history lesson on the materia. So it used to be you needed the catalyst, which was the carbonized matter.
Yeah, same as for Botanist, where we have this legacy quest that no longer matters because you don't need carbonized matter for materia.
I swear to God, I did this already, but no, it was for botany.
Yeah,
we go mine up some carbonized matter just so we can get a feel for what it was like to mine this stuff. And despite us not needing it at all.
It feels a lot like everything else.
Yeah.
We only need 15 carbonized matter, but it used to be 100.
Yeah, so like all of these assignments, there's a preamble that is in line with, they're basically setting the expectation that you're going to be out there forever mining away and mining away and mining away to get this massive pile of whatever it is. But you go and you need like 15 pieces.
So we quarry this in Middle La Nocia, and I kept forgetting to turn my stealth on since the ability is automatic for higher level gatherers. So I kept getting attacked by random enemies by the mining nodes and having to run away and break aggro and then turn it on. Then I go to a city, it turns off automatically, and then repeat.
But then eventually you get it, right? Like,
yeah.
In a like with doing this, you got it. Right?
I think it's after a few more steps that we unlock it. What is it, like level 27? Yeah. So not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Anyway, we go back and get the materia melding lecture. We've heard it from every single quest so far. Skip.
Yeah, and this one, they're not like, there's some guy out in the desert that is really good at this. You should go talk to him. It's more like, I bet one of your friends could help you. Well, you know, one of your crafter friends. I'm sure you have tons of friends. It's a big assumption, all right?
So next up, we have a sick miner that we need to fill in for. The job is to gather effervescent water. This is where the natron comes in, because this water is used in making natron and therefore baking and leatherworking.
Mixology.
It's great with some hard liquor. It makes it go down smooth.
That's why I said mixology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's
like a little, it's just like, it's club soda. So a little splash in your whiskey. So the miner guy that was supposed to do this got sick, so we're in charge of getting this now and taking it to the Bismarck.
The Alchemist Guild, who will make it into natron.
Correct. Yeah.
For the Bismarck.
Correct. The guy that got sick, he used too much effervescent water in his booze, and so it went down so easy. He overdid it, got sick, slipped in his sick, busted his head open, and now he's not going to be able to work for a couple of weeks.
And we're standing in the spot.
Yeah.
Where he got sick.
Yeah, that spot right there where you're standing, that's his puke spot.
Thanks for telling us.
How do you like that puke spot?
Not great. Also, in the guild, there is constantly a guy who is flat out drunk.
Okay, so I made a note of this. So while this is a cautionary tale on the overuse of effervescent water in your drinks, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, you kind of side-eye it a little bit because the guild's members are overall content with multiple stumbling drunk miners in the hall at any given moment. And then one guy in particular who just, he can't even stand up the whole time.
In every single scene, you can see this guy in like the periphery of the scene.
Yes.
He's flailing about on this table with his mug in hand. He cannot
He's using the table to support himself.
Yeah.
He can't even stand up. So we've got a guild hall that is mostly bar and entertainment venue. There's a stage. There are like tables and chairs. You know, it's like a jazz club.
After a hard day's work, you want to kick back. I mean,
why the Miners Guild? No, I understand why. No, why the Miners Guild and literally none other guild?
You got to wash out the dust of a hard day's mining.
There's something really like classist going on here with like, you know what'll wash out your black lung real good? Blogger.
Next up.
It's a problem.
Next up, we need more obsidian. Not just any obsidian, though. Wyvern obsidian.
Ooh, rare.
This will be a hard task, so we're assigned help. Our partner is Wide Gully. Wide Gully is, of course, a Hellsguard Rogaden. He is extremely prepared for this task as he's wearing goggles on his face and backup goggles around his neck.
Ready to go. Goggled up.
He is less than helpful, though. He knows that us adventurers can't be trusted, no matter what the guildmaster says. So instead of risking his reputation on working with us, he's going to challenge us to a contest. Whoever brings back the better haul, the purer haul, is the winner.
And just so that people think, so people won't think that he's throwing us under the bus, he's like, take all the time you need. As much time as you need. It will matter not at all, because your shit's going to be shit. So.
And we can't really bring back a pure haul because they removed high-quality gatherables from the game. So it's all the same tier.
Yes.
But anyway, he recommends that we talk to the client, Hrodger, for advice. Oof, I don't envy you, says Hrodger, having to compete with Deep Canyon's son. twist.
Oh, dip. I knew that xenophobia smelled familiar.
He's just parroting his dad's opinions. Adventurers suck. Ul'dah for life.
It's dads for you, man.
Anyway, though, the Obsidians to make a fancy new Mahuatil?
I had to look up how this was pronounced.
How's it pronounced?
Makwahuitl. You do that. You do this like.
Where?
So it's a makwahuitl. So it's like in between like the T and the L, your mouth makes this noise, and you cut that shit off right then. Or you could call it a makwahuitl. But you can feel it. Like there's like a spray in the back of your mouth between your teeth.
Thank you, Jen.
Like very linguistically accurate regarding like the etymology of this word. Then you do the thing. That's the video I watch. But otherwise, it's just makwahuitl.
Okay, we go and get the stuff from Eastern Thanalan, and we show it to Wide Gully, and he is shocked by how pure our normal obsidian is.
Yeah, it's that old chestnut. Like, oh, let's take a look at this bullshit you dragged in. What? It's amazing.
They are black as night. How did a mere adventurer mine this stuff?
Because we're really good at stuff, okay? Like, we're really good.
Well, we may have won on quality, but Wide Gully finished first.
This fucking guy.
We'll call it a draw.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's not about speed, except it's kind of about speed. So we'll just, we tied. It's fine.
It's about speed because he lost.
Correct.
And we tell Adalberta, we snitch.
Even though we won and he totally like changed the rules after the fact, and like super wasn't fair.
And Adalberta sides with us, saying that
it's bullshit.
It's bullshit. Speed is important, but it was not the rule. So there, take that.
Yeah. Moral victory.
Mom said.
Oh, no, there's only one mom.
It's the tone, not the...
I know. Yeah, especially when we're like, oh, Berta.
She later reveals that Wide Gully wants her job. Some miners say that he should be expelled from the guild, but Adalberta says it's short-sighted. And you're allowed to want the guildmaster job.
Sure.
There's
she's
no
not gonna,
rule against it.
Yeah. Like, I'm not going to banish the guy simply because he wants a promotion. That's like fucking everybody.
Also, she says, go ask Wide Gully where to find our next haul. 20 raw amethysts. Nobody knows more about gemstones than he. He will gladly tell us, even though we humiliated him last time, because finding these is the easy part. The problem, though, is that the area of Central Shroud where they're located is infested with monsters. Take that, adventurer.
Yeah. He was really not happy to see us. And he's like, but I'm going to help you out because you're going to die.
So, for one, if we're an adventurer, we can hypothetically just go kill the shit that's out there.
Yeah, let me just, put on my robe and wizard hat, go out there, kill some beasties, and then mine some shit, and then come back.
Our day job is killing shit.
Yeah.
So
well, he can't. He just can't. Like I get it, this is the one thing in his life that he's good at. For us to show him up for, we're new, we're an adventurer. Blech.
I think that Wide Gully never learned the auto stealth ability because he seems to forget also that we can just sneak and mine. We don't got to kill shit too. So 2 points against you, Wide Gully.
Yeah.
We don't fight shit. We grab the shit and we return.
Yeah. But also he was prepared for us to die out there, and he was very happy to facilitate that whole thing. Asshole.
So we return unharmed and show him the stuff. Bugger me, says Wide Gully.
When you're narrating this stuff, it sounds like you're reading like out of a children's book to a kid, It's because Bugger all, said Wide Gully.
Jen is sweepy, so
sweet.
I have to read her a bedtime story.
Let me tell you about nepotism.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's bummed that we lived, but he just kind of lets it slip a little bit that these quote unquote adventurers come through more often than he'd like to admit. And he says some nice things about us now. So he's like coming around, like he's seeing like, okay, all right. So he does actually have like a deep respect for the work that he does. He's not there to try to impress his father, which is great. He's not really gunning that hard in like a really shitty way for a promotion. So he has deep respect for the work, and it's starting to dawn on him that we also respect the work. And that's like good enough. So now now our relationship with Wide Gully is starting to have like a healthier foundation, and we're going to move on kind of more in a team capacity, which is so refreshing.
Well, not quite yet, though.
Not quite yet. It's a slow process.
But also, he gives us a complimentary amethyst lesson. These are lightning aspected gemstones embodying calmness, decisiveness, and intuition. It seems like we've got all these things evidenced by our haul.
See? Also, this was a mind-splain.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, do you know anything about the amethyst that you... He's still like working through his bitterness that we did such a good job. He's like, do you know anything about the amethyst that you just mined? Well, shocking. You don't. Well, let me tell you. I'm like, okay, that's a mind-splain.
We are now tied with Wide Gully as the guild's biggest earner. And a lot of these commissions are coming from Deep Canyon. They call for dangerous expeditions. And Adalberta doesn't normally refuse these requests, even the dangerous ones, except the current one gives her pause. He wants someone to go to Kurthis and get 20 pieces of jade. And we can back out if we want to. And she says, maybe think it over before accepting. Obviously, we don't. We do it.
Yeah. I mean, if it was up to her, she'd be like, I would say no. Because it's like, it's not cool to send miners out into these really like remote and dangerous areas. Like, this isn't right.
This is the easiest part of Kurthis. It is 20 feet from Camp Dragonhead.
There be dragons.
There do not be dragons, actually.
There be dragons. Oh, there's like avises and wyverns
there's
and
maybe
shit everywhere.
A croc half a mile away from where the gathering points are.
Oh, that specific location?
Yes.
Okay, yes.
That's what I'm talking about. The place we find the jade is in sight of the fortress walls.
So, I mean, imagine, though, as someone who is basically lived their entire life in Ul'dah, Kurthis is going to seem like a faraway, dangerous, snow-covered land. It may as well be like Hoth, right? Inhospitable. Ishgardians are known assholes. They've been dealing with dragons. I mean, it's just filthy with dragons, right? You walk into Kurthis and boom, you're hooked by a dragon and they take them to their nest and feed them to their young or whatever. Like whatever. Like there's it's the scary unknown. So yes, Kurthis on paper to them is going to be there were dragons.
I don't disagree. I'm just poking fun at how this is talked up, and it's so easy, even ignoring the stealth ability. It's just
sure.
It's
I'm
right
just
outside.
Like, I fill in the gaps so like immersively I can understand.
That's the spice that Jin brings to the table.
Indeed.
So Wide Gully challenges us to another gather-off. A true miner is willing to risk their lives for their prize. The first one to get 20 jade will be the winner.
So this is an actual quickness test. Whoever mines it first wins.
Except it's not. This is really annoying. They have the mechanics to do these things with a time limit. It's all up in the leave system. They could just borrow the leave mechanics and actually make this thing feel like it's the description. But instead, no, you can take a year to go and get these jades.
And not to mention all of the quests that are structured in we got an emergency last minute request from the Bismarck. They need 10 maiden carps ASAP. I'm like, all right, 6 months later, here's your fucking maiden carps. Well, oh, thank God, just in time.
I'm not wishing that the game gave a time limit from acceptance on these quests. Because
I know.
If you have to like hop off and go to sleep, go to work, whatever,
yeah,
that's fine. But I wish though that they would structure the actual mechanics like a leave, where okay, so we go to Kurthis and we initiate it. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, okay, you've got 5 minutes to get this much jade, and you've got to use your skills to make sure that you get the gathering attempts and also that you bring in enough to beat Wide Gully. It's all in the game itself. All these gathering quests, though, are always bring back X with no other frills.
But if they did it like a leave quest, then, I mean, because otherwise you can just go and mine shit without using any skill whatsoever. You can push none buttons and still mine stuff. So if if you have to initiate it and you have only so many minutes to do it, it would kind of force your hand into figuring out how to somewhat. I'm not talking about like crazy ass min-maxing here, but just to optimize or use some of your skills so that you're forced to use some of your skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't, and that's okay.
Anyway, we return with our Jade, and we have won the contest. It sounds like Wide Gully once again forgot about stealth because he got mauled by a fiend. And
yeah.
Adalberta is actually more concerned about his mental health than his physical health after this event, having lost a second contest of his own making.
Yeah. It's probably feeling maybe a little down on himself.
But she's going to give him a jade present, as it symbolizes immortality. And she hopes that this gift will restore his resolve.
Yeah, here's a token to help you rally. Which is very nice. She's a nice person.
She is.
Yeah.
Some bold statements from Jen.
I will stand by that statement. Challenge me, motherfucker.
At Jen.
Yeah. I think Adalberta's a bitch, and then I will come at you with everything I have.
So later on, Wide Gully has recovered, and he has begun to take on an aggressive load of tasks. Adalberta thinks he's trying to redeem himself from the earlier incident. What are you laughing at?
An aggressive load.
I wonder, that's some weak fucking...
No, it's pretty weak, but it was like the first one this episode, so I had to...
Okay, you enjoyed that, Jen.
I did, thank you. Continue.
So, Adalberta thinks he's trying to redeem himself from the earlier incident, but also something else, too. This seems a bit too...
Yeah, he's like
beyond,
manic with the jobs he's taken on right now, and then she's like, something's up, and he won't tell me about it.
So
maybe he'll tell you?
We are the closest person to a friend he has here, which is kind of sad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she asks us to go and say, hey, what's up? And we
he
do.
spills immediately. Like, he takes no goading whatsoever. He's like, oh my God, let me tell you. So my dad he fucked up. So they found some irregularities in the paperwork down at the old concern. He was, just kind of checking his own turn-ins. And he's like, I'm not doing this much work. I'm just not. And he looked into it and he discovered that his dad, the old vice foreman, was fucking with his numbers so that he was kind of staying on top. And this is devastating for Wide Gully because, I mean, I don't really need to say why. I think we all like have empathy for that situation. But like, he's like, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it on my own, under my own strength, under my own sweat. And I don't want my daddy to go in and fudge the numbers for me. And also, like, that's shitty of him. Suddenly my dad doesn't have any integrity. And he's just, so what he's doing, he's trying to take on all of this work so that his dad's fuckery will become now truth to try to cover his tracks, ex post facto. And I am like, okay, it's your dad, that I understand. But this will develop in a way that just boggles my fucking mind. So what he does is, because he's so overwhelmed with all of the jobs he's taken on, he asks us to...
Is this going to be another beaten moment for you?
What?
Where you're so confounded by the motivations of the people here, it keeps you up at night.
It's different. No, it's different.
Okay.
Like, I'm confounded by motivations, one, because Beaton and Gerhardt never talk about it. They don't fucking talk about it. They don't talk to each other.
I'm sorry to bring that back up again. I was just curious.
That's just like, that's not because they had to kind of create this dramatic moment to make mining part of the solution in like a really weird way. The Beaton Gerhardt thing is, there's a fucking history there and we don't know what it is and they refuse to talk about it, and that is frustrating. You fucking men, get your asses into therapy.
Okay.
And this is just kind of baffling from a quest line design perspective.
All right, so different
entirely. Absolutely, yes. This isn't like, human beings being human and frustrating. This is just a weird thing to shoehorn in to make mining a solution for the quote unquote problem.
It's got to be. This is literally a hammer in your hand and every problem's a nail, or every problem in this case is a rock.
Of course, yes. What could possibly solve this problem?
Mining. Anyway, so Wide Gully has been taking on a lot of tasks now because he wants to prove that he is worthy of this false credit.
And also hide his father's fraud.
Yes. But he's now in over his head, so he asks us for help, which is a big moment for him. Way to grow as a person. To say, I can't do it, please help me.
And also, he was completely forthcoming forthcoming with his dad being a piece of shit. Like, my dad did something really awful, and this is why I am working so hard, and I am a little overwhelmed. If you could help me out. Like, this is very mature. Like, way to go, bro. So already he's a better man than his father.
So the task that we are subcontracted to do is to gather 20 Electrum ore from Bronze Lake.
Easy peasy.
We pop over, grab it, return, and he's grateful. He has now come to terms with expressing gratitude, and he realizes his pride had held him back before.
Yeah.
And he's impure, like this Electrum, which is a gold, silver, and other metal all mixed
he's like,
up.
You know what Electrum is? It's an abomination of gold and silver and bullshit. He's like, no, that's not fair.
It's got value, unlike me.
Oh, I know. He's so full of self-hate right now. It's like, I hate myself. I hate my father. My reputation is forever sullied. His reputation is forever sullied. He's having a moment.
He bounces back, though, and says, all right, I'll stop feeling sorry for myself.
Amazing. Amazing.
And we return soon enough and find out that he has now filed a complaint, an official complaint with Amagina and Sons against his father.
That's fucking huge.
Citing abuse of power.
Wow.
Not only is there this falsifying records shit.
Oh, yeah, there's more.
But also, anyways, he'll tell us in a minute. So Adalberta feels some loyalty to Deep Canyon, and this is actually extreme. Like, she will stand by this guy.
This doesn't make any sense
despite
to me. No, like, this is the start of the whole, like, Jen doesn't get it. Jen doesn't get any of this. So she is a good, hardworking woman. She got where she is.
Well, we can talk about the emotions and so on after we talk about what happens.
She has integrity, and the reason, and for her to try so hard to hide the crimes of this man, and she's like, he was my mentor. I feel some kind of fealty to him. I feel like I need to do something to make sure that his crimes aren't discovered. Like, fucking why?
She doesn't know yet what his crimes are.
Doesn't she?
She does not, because she asks us to ask Wide Gully what the dealio is.
Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, no, I was getting all fired up. I'm like, this guy fucked up. Why are we working this hard to cover his tracks?
We ask Wide Gully, and once again, he's like, sure, here's the whole backstory. This is not just Wide Gully trying to expunge his guilt by calling his father out for these falsifications. It's also that his father, Deep Canyon, has been actually creating these jobs for the Miners Guild that are extremely dangerous.
On purpose.
On purpose, yes. Just because they're dangerous, not because they are needed especially.
Correct.
At this point, I'm inferring he's trying to weaken Adalberta's supporters so he can make his bid to take the guild over. But Deep Canyon's like right out in the hallway if we want to go ask him directly. And one thing about this family, they are forthcoming when asked about their deep secrets.
Yeah, like 20 feet away from the door of the Miners Guild. And also, at this point, we do not know his motivation.
We ask him and he says, here's the whole backstory.
But then it's all like, here's how big of a piece of shit I am. My whole goal here, it's not to bolster numbers or make fat commissions or get my son a promotion. Well, sort of. But really, all I wanted to do was hurt Adalberta. I wanted to hurt her. This is all about vengeance because she got the job that I wanted and I felt that I deserved it. She obviously conspired with her predecessor to, scam her way into the job. And like, he's just going off.
He thinks that she arranged for this transfer because she had a meeting with the former guildmaster right before this promotion was announced.
Yeah. The subject of that discussion is totally unknown to him, but he's going to fill in that gap because he is a petty small man.
He's pretty big, actually, Jen.
I swear to
God. He is mad, though, because we have been, in a large part, helping to succeed at these jobs that he's been posting.
Yeah, we're the meddling kids.
And we're the meddling kids, exactly. And if she had failed them, then Wide Gully, who has been, in part due to false records, a sterling guild member, would be poised to take over. He would have been the
natural successor. Absolutely. So, like, gross.
So we go back to Adalberta and tell her what's going on, and she knows nothing about this conspiracy that she's being accused of.
Because there wasn't one.
She just regrets
just like, the fuck?
That her job has torn apart their relationship, hers and Deep Canyon's.
Well, the weakness in his character that is discovered in this moment, or that is not discovered, but revealed to Adalberta in this moment, should be enough for her to say, you know what? not a big loss.
Despite all this, Adalberta wants to help Deep Canyon. So we go back to Wide Gully and appeal to him. Maybe he will drop these charges, but no. This is already on file with Amagina and Sons. It's out of his hands. He doesn't want to ruin his father, though. He just wanted to teach him a lesson.
I mean, he had to know what was going to happen filing this complaint and revealing, one, fraud and exploitation of the workforce in service of unseating the guildmaster so he can install his own progeny.
Sure.
It's fucking gross.
I think he was pissed off, though, and he just wanted to hurt his father back the way he'd been hurt, and he succeeded.
That's normal. Yeah, but then he's like, fuck, did I take this too far? I'm like, no, you did the right thing. Absolutely. Now he has to suffer the consequences of his actions. Oh my god, the son is now the father.
The only way that we can actually save Deep Canyon's job is if we can pass this test. So, Deep Canyon has one shot at keeping his position and his pay. And that's if he can prove that he has not damaged his relationship with the guild so much that they will not work for him. Because Amagina and Sons wants to keep the guild around to keep them happy most of all. If he can find someone in the guild to support him in this very difficult request, then he still has enough credibility left over to keep his old job. The ask is bring 3 chunks of dark steel back.
Okay.
Dark steel is one of those rare ores with timed nodes. Level 50 ore. You've got to be in Kurthis at just after midnight to scoop this ore up. And neither Gully nor Adalberta can complete this task because they have conflicts of interest.
Correct.
We do too because we've been in the middle of this shit the whole time, but no one's calling us out on it.
I mean, yeah, we're not trying for a promotion. We're not trying for a job with the concern. Like, we're still, we're just far enough separated that we could do this without looking bad.
Sure, to them. We go to Kurthis at 1 a.m., use Truth of Mountains to grab the dark steel, mine it, then deliver it to Adalberta. And this is just in time. We cut over to Deep Canyon being faced down by the Amagina and Sons leadership. The chairman himself, Feargeist Lotkilsbin, and a pair of Lalafels with odd eyes are seated across from Deep Canyon. And this scene feels especially intimidating because everyone in the panel looks angry. And the Lalafels, their odd eyes are mirrored. They have one green and one pale eye. And they're seating on opposite sides of Feargeist.
They're also the sons of Amagina and Sons.
But I'm talking like in terms of presentation.
Yeah, and they're standing on the table because reasons.
Because they're Lalafels. So the way they're set up is that each Lalafell with their mirrored odd eyes are on either side of Feargeist. This just makes the whole thing feel so surreal, seeing this almost mirror of these brothers on each side of him, all facing down Deep Canyon. Yeah,
so like, the camera, the shot here is Deep Canyon standing alone in front of a U-shaped long table with 7 people all staring him down, and they're asking for, where's the dark steel? We asked you, like, if you fail this test, like, you're fucking, like, one of the sons was like, we will end you. Which is fucking great. And, of course, Deep Canyon at this point does not have the dark steel ore. He's just like, and at that moment, the doors slam open, and we're like, we have it! We have the dark steel ore! Slam it on the table. Like, look, we brought this shit for you. And Adalberta takes this moment to confront Deep Canyon about this whole, she calls it a misunderstanding that is the most generous way.
The panel asks us why we helped him. Sure, the job is done, but why?
But why?
Why would you stick your neck out for him?
What is it about this guy that you're like, I want to do this work for you?
And Deep Canyon's also pissed off too. He didn't ask for anyone's pity, especially not Adalberta's.
Ugh. So she whips around and she's like, okay, let's clear the air right fucking now. But she's not really mad. I would be furious. I would I'm like, we're done.
But what actually happened, though, the piece that's missing is that she did go and see the former guildmaster before her promotion, but she went there to actually back out of the posting.
She's like, I'm not ready for this. I don't want this responsibility. Can you take my name off? Because she earned the nomination simply by hard work and dedication. She wasn't gunning for it. She didn't want it, but they gave it to her because they saw that she deserved it. And as her mentor, the fact that he didn't see that she was the appropriate, and this, I think Wide Gully also jumps in now to say, like, the fact that you twisted the scenario in your head so disgustingly speaks to the reason why they chose her over you. Like, you just proved their fucking point. So grow the fuck up. Yeah. And so he's like, in this game, when you confront people, they're not like defensive. They're like, you're right. I was a dick. I will change my ways. You know, so he is apologetic, but
Adalberta offers him, if he will let go of his enmity and start over, then she will give him the guild's full support. One of the Lalas is kind of flabbergasted by this, confirming, you'll forgive him after all he's done? And she says yes, to get her old friend and her mentor back.
Yeah. And we look forward. We don't look backward. And this is all about like forgiveness and rehabilitation and moving forward and hoping the best of people, which I am all fucking about.
FinalFantasy.txt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's settled. Feargeist declares that Deep Canyon will retain its present office and he will make amends for his transgressions through hard work.
Yep.
Back at the guild, before we can process all the shit, Jen, we get the standard wrap up where we've come so far, we've helped so much with the guild, and she's in our debt. She hopes that we will travel far and wide as an adventurer, and we will mine far and wide as a miner. In whatever corners of the realm our adventures take us to.
Yeah.
So go, and may our toils never be unrewarded.
Aw, that's nice.
The end.
My dad engaged in fraud. Let's try to help cover up the fraud. Adalberta was like, yes, we should all help save this man's job. You know, if they were as close as she said they were and he was her mentor, why did he just like ghost her? That speaks to his character, and it doesn't speak to him in a great way. And then the fact that his son reported his father for fraud. Those two things alone, like, bad. And she's still trying so hard to see, like, the good in him because she did see good. She saw good Deep Canyon for years.
So is your opinion that she should burn bridges and say, fuck this guy, I'm done?
The examples of fraud that he was perpetuating also, I don't think she knew this yet, but the fact that he was purposefully creating... Yeah, like
dangerous situations.
Well, I was trying to think of like, you know, job assignments, I guess.
Yeah.
He was purposely creating them so that they were as dangerous as possible. But then he's involving everybody. It's not just vengeance against Adalberta at this point. It's vengeance against Adalberta, but now he's putting all of the other guild members' lives at risk for this petty nonsense, for his smallness and his own insecurities. So, I mean, that's like 4 huge fucking strikes, but I'm saying like just the 2 is enough for her to be like, why am I interjecting myself on a case of valid fraud? She's like, you probably want to let the inquest do its job and not interfere with the workings of this. And then whatever the result is, then you could be like, you know what, hey, I support your rehabilitation, or I know there's good in you, and when you're out of prison or whatever, you know, I have a job for you at the guild, like whatever it is. But just like interjecting herself into the investigation into his fraud just seemed very strange to me.
That's one perspective, I think. And that kind of has an anger to it. You know, like where he fucked up, he needs to pay for fucking up.
It's not anger. It's just like that's like black and white proven attempts to fuck up the books, and which is making a lot of guild members look like they're doing worse in comparison. It's really bad, and she shouldn't be like validating that.
I
let
agree.
The investigation handle itself, and you know, it's not my place. I'm the guild master. I have other shit to do. I'm not here to babysit my old mentor.
That is the professional perspective, yes, but I think that you are discounting Adalberta's emotions, which is what this is all about.
I know.
And This guy, remember, her father died.
I know.
And
he's the father analog.
He is the father analog, father figure, not just flippantly, but literally too. When she was directionless and just trying to make ends meet, he stepped in to give her direction and give her the skills to actually earn her own livelihood. I think in this case, that counts for a lot to her. From an outside perspective, yes, fuck that guy. I'm not saying that. My personal opinion is that this is legit, but I think that if you look at it though, from Adalberto's perspective, her actions do make sense because the value of what their history is and who he is to her outweighs these more recent transgressions. And I do think that she is actually acting like a bad guildmaster in this case because she is letting the whole endangering life thing to slide, which...
That to me is the deal breaker.
And
I'm surprised it wasn't for her.
We see shit like this in real life too. This is not a made up... Well, it is made up, but it's not, I guess, an unrealistic relationship.
Oh, no. All the goddamn time, every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that I understand the motivations of the characters.
Of course, yes. And I'm just saying, like, me personally, if I were in those shoes, I'm like, you know what? Like, I can't get involved in this one. This is above and beyond. Like, his life has really kind of gone in a direction that I didn't imagine. And I think, like, now he's got to do what he's got to do. Okay, he's got to suffer the consequences, whatever those might be. And after the fact, if I still want to engage with him or help him, again, like rehabilitation after the fact, like if he doesn't have a job or he's in jail or whatever, then yes, I can explore those feelings. But like the fact that he was trying so hard to make me look like I was putting my charges, like my guildmates, in harm's way, or putting them in such situations where they couldn't effectively, produce because they're being overwhelmed by tribes or animals or whatever. Like, he was so willing to pay for this vengeance in blood of innocent people who have nothing to do with the scenario. Like, that says so much about this man that, like, that's like sociopathy. That's really bad. That's a deal breaker for me. But at the same time, father figure. She, like, this is the dad, and he was like a really good man to her for a lot of years. And I do not envy her in this position, straight up. But I think she made the wrong decision. I think she should have waited for the investigation to run its course and then engage after the fact if that's what she felt she wanted to do for her own, heart and soul and mental well-being.
I think that...
I still respect the shit out of her. I think she's great.
I think her sole goal here was to reconnect with Deep Canyon and pretty much fuck everything else.
Like, she really missed his presence in her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, she brought that up very early on in our interactions. So, yeah, apparently it had been eating away with her. And of course it would. He fucks off, and he's like, borderline hostile to her when they do interact, and she has no idea why. And that's heartbreaking. So, yeah, like, this is her in pursuit of closure.
All that aside, there's still a very big disconnect between the story and the gameplay here. This is a prime example of the tell, don't show storytelling approach.
Yep. Because
there's nothing in this quest line that is at all distinguishable from the botany quest line, which is almost fully a reskin of the minor quest line, mechanically speaking.
Yes.
Yes. For botany, you're getting plants. For minor, you're getting rocks.
Yes.
But it's the exact same stuff. Get X stuff at these levels, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So my point with that, though, being there's nothing especially dangerous or especially challenging that it's asking you to do that makes it feel like Deep Canyon is meddling.
Right. Yeah. You're told you don't feel any stakes whatsoever.
No, you're told that it's dangerous, and you're told that there's this conspiracy going on. But if you were left to piece things together yourself, then you would feel absolutely normal.
Yep.
I'd love to get some transparency into this like development, because you can see a lot of the quests having these similar steps to them.
Totally. Yeah.
So there's got to be some sort of document that says, okay, so for the gathering quests that you design, you have to get these steps at these levels, or they gave like one guy the job and he just copy pasted the steps and then reflavor them. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if the person who made this quest line had the option to add more mechanical flair, we've seen that like for Scholar, which is our recent kind of thing I was at least hot on. The person who did Scholar really went above and beyond with how they did that quest compared to other A Realm Reborn job quests. So you can't really tell what was allowed and what was not allowed as far as their development resources went. But I'm just remarking that this quest could have really used some mechanical flair to make it align with the story. Because as it is, it feels fully disconnected from the story of the quest. It's like, okay, so go chop some rocks and then here's some story.
Yeah.
And repeat.
There definitely could, because the botany storyline was so great. It was so like organic. It felt completely natural. Except for the very end when you like kneel and hand somebody 3 goddamn giant tree logs with like a proffered palm. But besides that, like it felt completely natural and actually like, no. Botany is literally the only solution to this particular problem that we have. Whereas with this one, they had to create a problem and then create a weird mining solution to it. And it's super weird and awkward. And, but going back to what you said about, the copy pasting of the gather requests. I mean, I know why they did that. It's because you might start with miner. You might start with botanist. You might start with fisher. You got to cover all of these like mechanic bases in the same way. Whether, because you don't know who, like, you don't know if a player is going to start with one or the other as their first gatherer.
Disagree there, because I think you can still do the same mechanical tutorials and not have to repeat content. Because the key things that they roll out are, okay, so here's how you mine. Here's how you gather resources from nodes. Okay, so now here's the carbonized matter step, which mattered at some point, not anymore, but it did back then. Here's high quality. And the only thing that is new after they introduced the high quality materials back when that was mechanic 2 is the timed nodes. So that's 20 plus levels of the same thing mechanically speaking that they are just using on different nodes.
Right. Yeah.
So there's a lot of leeway there. If, again, like, we know that Realm Reborn was, by necessity, something of a rush job, and they did a fantastic thing with a disaster.
It's a goddamn miracle.
Yeah, so obviously you can sit here and wish for the world now, but that does not match the reality of that.
Like, that's all we fucking do is Monday morning quarterback here. So, they had to make these decisions for reasons, but this bothered me when I did it the first time. Like, this makes zero sense. It doesn't feel right. I mean, the story, without the weird turning in of mined materials to exonerate this dude, it's so fucking weird. I get that. Like, I get this guy. He's high up in the corporation that owns the guild, and then his son works for the guild. And
they don't own the guild. They own the guild's space.
Yeah.
Big distinction.
I know. They're just... But yeah, like the story makes sense. Like this is couched in reality for sure. But the absolving all of this in like a mining capacity is just really weird. It doesn't. Oh God, it just feels dumb. It's ugh.
Wow, that's when you're.
I know.
It's one of your harshest criticisms I've ever heard from you of this game. They painted themselves into this corner. Like, shit, guys. How do we make somebody mining ore the fucking savior moment to this whole, like, to wrap all of this up in a nice tidy little bow? How do we incorporate mining into that? They could have gone anywhere with the story, straight up. They should have reverse engineered it. Maybe they did. Maybe, like, I can't imagine how many fucking conversations and meetings were had to get to this. Without belaboring the point too much, I agree with you in a big picture sense that the way that the quest plays in terms of gameplay and the story start to diverge in the later points.
Totally.
And that is noticeable to me too.
Yeah, it just kind of pulls you out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other minor comments, Jen?
No.
Way to bounce back. You were pretty sleepy. You went from being confused if we were doing the botany or minor quest to bouncing back in a big way. So thank you, Jen.
No problem.
Well, next time we are going through the Cutter's Cry side dungeon. See you then.
And And that'll do it for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to get in touch with us, you can. podreturnffxiv at gmail.com or on Twitter at podreturn. And with that, we hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a really good day or night, and we will see you next time.